This is going to be the most definitive GOAT list for the WWE that you have ever seen. Who is truly on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? That is the question that I will try to figure out today. Now, I hear you saying, GOAT lists are subjective. And I agree with you. I think they are. But I think that you're going to see that this one is using the scientific method to figure this stuff out. I will be giving them star ratings from 1 to 5 in 7 different categories with a max score of 35. We are going to use math to figure this one out. Once we give star ratings to each category, we will then add up the points, and the top 4 will make the cut, and the rest will have to go. I think we can all agree that these people are the ones that are in the conversation. So we will only be looking at Bruno Sammartino, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. If you think I missed someone in consideration, then leave it in the comments below, but this is my list, so if you want to make your own, go for it. So we are going to start off with Bruno Sammartino. Now, full disclosure, I don't know that much about Bruno Sammartino, so this one might be the one where you go, oh, well, he's not a 3 in this category, he's a 5 in that category. Well, sorry, I never watched Bruno Sammartino, I don't know what to tell you. So we'll start off. Promo skill, 3.5. I have never seen a Bruno Sammartino promo, but I looked it up online and they said it was a different time. So I assume that means 3.5. In-ring, we're going to give him a 3.5 again, just to be safe. I mean, I don't think he's the best wrestler of all time. I mean, I'm sure people would have talked about him being a great technician if he was. But he was the best, so I guess let's just give him a 3.5. It factor. We're giving him a 5 in it factor. He was the it guy in the WWE at the time when it was the WWF, so we'll give him a 5 in that category. Game changer. We'll give him a 5. He was the prototype WWE superstar, so he has to get max points in this category. Moments. I'll give him a 4. I have never seen a Bruno Sammartino moment. I'm sure there are some. I think he was like Mr. Madison Square Garden, so we'll give him a 4. Finisher, the bear hug, gets a 2. Longevity, I looked it up. He had like 26 years in the company or something like that. He was also on top for most of that, being the world champion. And as you'll see later, I give extra points for if you are on top. So yeah, we'll give longevity a 5. So this leaves Bruno Sammartino with a score of 28. Next up, we have Ric Flair. Promo, 5. He is a great promo. I've seen plenty of Ric Flair promos. You can't watch a Ric Flair promo without actually being entertained. In-ring, 5. I mean, he's Ric Flair. Come on. It factor, we'll give him a 4. He wasn't on the level of a Hulk Hogan at the time, but he was the it guy of every other company other than WWE. Game changer, we'll give him a 4.5. A lot of people give a lot of credit to Bret Hart for being the first technician or being the first real good ground worker. It's not. It was Ric Flair who revolutionized all this stuff. Bret Hart might have made it more mainstream in the WWE, but Ric Flair should really get the credit. Moments, he'll get a 4. I can name you a bunch of moments, but none of them are really a standout. I mean, his retirement and with Evolution and back in the day with the world title on WWE, these are good moments, but they're not on par with some of the other people. Finisher. The figure 4 leg lock is iconic, but it will only get a 4. Longevity, 5. Ric Flair wrestled up until like 2 years ago. He gets a 5. This leaves Ric Flair with a 31.5 out of 35. Hulk Hogan. Promo, he gets a 4. I've heard some pretty good Hulk Hogan promos, but I wouldn't say it was, anything too special. In-ring, he gets a 3. He was kind of stiff, It factor. He obviously gets a 5. He was the it guy of the WWE for his time. He revolutionized it. Whenever you get a babyface in the WWE, he's always going to be compared to Hulk Hogan. He was the it guy. Game changer. I'm going to give him a 5 too. Even though he did stuff that Billy Graham had already done and Bruno Sammartino had already done, he was doing it at a different level, and it deserves for him to get the 5. There are hundreds and hundreds of people that are wrestling right now because of Hulk Hogan. Moments. We will also give him a 5. Hulk Hogan has had some of the greatest moments in WWE history, from slamming Andre all the way through until just this year coming out on the Netflix debut. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Finisher, 3.5. I mean, the leg drop's not great. Longevity, 4.5. I can't give him the full 5. I mean, a lot of his career was spent outside of the WWE, and I know I've made exceptions for some other people, but I mean, 4.5 is still good. That leaves Hulk Hogan with a score of 30. Bret the Hitman Hart gets a 3.5 in promo. He is not the best at promo I've ever seen. In ring, though, he gets a full 5. Gotta give him the full 5. He's one of the greatest wrestlers in ring all time. It factor, we're giving him a 3.5. There was a reason why Hulk Hogan kept taking a spot. Game changer, we'll give him the 4, even though I already said that really it was Ric Flair who revolutionized this style of wrestling. Bret Hart gave it his own little flair, his own little timings. He was probably the best at it. I'd say he was a little bit better in ring than Ric Flair. And he did change the game for the smaller wrestlers in the WWE. Moments, we'll give him a 3. I mean, the Montreal Screwjob, I guess. Finisher, the Sharpshooter, 4. It's one of the most iconic submissions of all time. But submission finishers probably are never going to get a 5. I can't really think of one that would get a 5. Longevity, we're going to give him a 3. I know he was in WWE for a while as a tag team and then broke out on his own, but once he made it to the top, he really wasn't there for that long. So I'm not going to give him the full points because for people like Hulk Hogan and people like Bruno Sammartino, they were on top for the entire time they were there, and that gives you more points in the longevity. It's not just about how long you've been in the game, but also how long have you been on top of the game. So with a 3 in longevity, that brings him to a 26 overall. Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels gets a 3.5 in promo, very similar to Bret Hart. In ring, we're also going to give him a 5, one of the greatest in-ring workers of all time. It factor, we're going to give him a 4. He wasn't exactly the build and the mold that Vince was looking for at the time, but he still had that it factor about him. Game changer, we're going to match him with Bret at 4. I feel like most wrestlers nowadays have a combination of the style of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It's like a package deal at this point. They've kind of blended together. Moments, we're going to give him a 3.5. I know that might seem a little low, but I really just... Looking back at some of his bigger moments, they're really not at the same scale as other people on this list. So we're going to give him a 3.5. Finisher, full 5 out of 5. The super kick, the Sweet Chin Music specifically is the greatest finisher, in my opinion, of all time. It's so snappy. It's so cool. It's so overused nowadays, but when he did it, he made it look legit. And longevity, we're going to give him a 4.5 out of 5. He was around since as early as Bret Hart, but he lasted a whole lot longer. That gives him a big edge over him in longevity. 4.5 seems fair. He came out of retirement later in his career, so technically he did have like a really long career, but we're not going to count that one. Even going back to earlier than that, longevity 4.5. That leaves Shawn Michaels with a 29.5. Triple H gets a 4 in his promo work. He also gets a 4 in his in-ring work. I feel like he is the most solid across the board, very average wrestler. I put him on this list because he has been very important, but if I was going to cut anyone from this list, it would probably also be him. His it factor, 4.5. If it wasn't for Stone Cold and The Rock, Triple H would probably be the guy of the Attitude Era. So we're going to give him the 4.5 in it factor. Game changer, not really. He's changed the game a lot now that he is not wrestling anymore, but in his wrestling career, we're going to give him a 3.5. Moments, we're going to give him a 3. He doesn't have that big of moments, and all of his moments have come really for someone else, like Daniel Bryan at Mania 30 and stuff like that, giving someone else their moment. Finisher, we're going to give him a 4. I love the pedigree. It's a great move. And longevity, we're going to give him a 4.5. He wrestled for a really long time. He's been in the game for a while. And he is the game. Triple H comes out of it with a 27.5. The Undertaker. Promo skills, we're going to give him a 3.5. I've seen some really bad Undertaker promos, but also I've seen some very captivating ones. In ring, we're going to give him a 4. He's not the best worker of all time, but he has some of the best matches in WWE history. It factor, we're also going to give him a 4. He was never the face of the company, but he's always been the guy that everyone looks at as basically the man. Game changer, we're going to give him a 4.5. If it wasn't for him, there would be no Bray Wyatt, there would be no Kane, there would be no Boogeyman, there would be no anyone. It's because of him. Moments, we're going to give him a 4.5. So he has moments every single WrestleMania, but the really one that sticks out is breaking the streak. And other than that, he doesn't really have that big of moments, but I mean, each WrestleMania where he would continue his streak is a moment in itself, so you got to give him some credit for that. So we're going to stick him at 4.5. Finisher, the Tombstone Piledriver is one of the coolest moves of all time. It gets a 5. And longevity, obviously, also gets a 5. This comes out to The Undertaker taking a 30.5 out of 35. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He gets a full 5 out of 5 for promo skills. Stone Cold has had one of the most captivating promo skills of all time. In ring, it's going to be a 4. He isn't the greatest wrestler of all time, but he's always reliable in a match. It factor, he's getting the full 5 out of 5. Of course, he's Stone Cold freaking Steve Austin. Game changer, also getting a 5. You could give a lot of credit to DX for the Attitude Era, but most of it has to go towards Stone Cold Steve Austin. Moments, he's also going to get a 5. I mean, he didn't have many because he had a shorter career, but the moments that he did have were some of the greatest of all time, whether you're talking about the beer truck or whether you're talking about his matches with The Rock or his matches with anyone. He has had some of the greatest moments of all time. Finisher gets a 5 out of 5. It's the Stone Cold Stunner. Come on. Longevity? Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to get a 2 in longevity, and I know that makes him take a hit in his score, but I think he's still going to make the cut. This brings Stone Cold Steve Austin's score to 31. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Promo skills gets a full 5. Of course it does. In ring, we're going to match him with Stone Cold out of 4, one of the most reliable workers in the company's history, but isn't really one of the best. It factor, 5 out of 5. Of course, he's The Rock. There's a reason he's the biggest superstar in the world right now. Game changer, we're going to give him a 4.5. He kind of revolutionized an entire style of promo, and I'm going to give him the credit he deserves for that. Moments, we're going to give him a 4.5. He isn't the moment maker of the WWE. There are people that have had bigger moments in the WWE, but whether we're talking about WrestleMania 40, 29, 28, when he fought Eric Rowan at like 33, these are all some great moments. But you look back to the Attitude Era, you'll see his face-off with Hulk Hogan, you'll see his heel turn. You have some of the greatest moments with The Rock. 4.5 for moments. Finisher, between the rock bottom and the people's elbow, I'm going to give him a 4, because these are really electrifying moves. I mean, the rock bottom is a little lame in today's standards, but I'm sure at the time it was pretty cool. So we're going to give him a 4. Longevity, he gets a 3. He's going to get the extra point over Stone Cold, even though he was in the company technically for less time than Stone Cold, because he has managed to come back a couple of times and do some other stuff. So we're going to give him the credit he deserves for continuing his returns to the WWE, and we're going to give him a 3. This brings The Rock's score to a 30. John Cena. Is he really the greatest of all time? Let's find out right now. Promo. He's getting a 5. One of the greatest promos of all time. I feel like a broken record. Most of these guys are, and that's why they're on this list right now. But John Cena might be the best of all of them. In ring, he gets a 4. Reliable as hell. Isn't the best, but he is a great conduit to whoever he fights. It factor obviously gets a 5. What are we even talking about here? He is the it guy of the WWE. He has been for the last 20 years. Game changer. We're going to give him a 4 because he did revolutionize the way that babyfaces do things now, between showing up to every event. You have to be on every Raw. You have to be on every live event. You have to do all the Make-A-Wish stuff. You have to do donations, and you have to do meet and greets, and you have to sign autographs. He revolutionized the way babyfaces have to do stuff nowadays, but a lot of his routine was pulled from Hulk Hogan, so I'd say Hulk Hogan revolutionized the style. John Cena perfected it, so he's getting a 4. Moments, he's also getting a 4. We're talking about John Cena here. He's had 17 different moments in the WWE where he's won the world title, so he gets 4 for moments. He's not exactly the moment maker, but he is the most reliable. Finisher gets a 4. The AA is not the best. He probably could get a little bit lower, but I'm going to stick him with this 4 because it's so iconic to watch him pick someone up who's super heavy, or pick up 2 people, or throw him off the top rope. He's got some good ways of showing his finisher. And longevity. 4.5 seems high, but as I said before, we are taking into consideration how long you are at the top as well, not just how long you've been in the company. John Cena has been at the top of the industry for, let's say, 15 years until he left, and then he came back, and then he was right back into title fights again. He was the champ this year. He was the champ in 2005. He's been champ almost every year in between. So he gets a 4.5 for longevity, based solely on his performance at the top of the card, not just how long he's been in the company. This gives John Cena a score of 30.5 out of 35. Brock Lesnar gets a 3 in promos. He's not a good promo. There's a reason why Paul Heyman follows him around everywhere. In ring, he gets a 4. He can be really good when he wants to, and he could be really bad when he wants to. I think that he's good more often than he's not, though. It factor, he gets a 5. He's Brock Lesnar. If you told someone, draw me the perfect professional wrestler, they're going to draw something that looks somewhat similar to a Brock Lesnar. Game changer. He pretty much changed nothing. There were guys that did this before him. There's guys that have done it after. He's a 3 in game changing. He kind of is the best at that category, but he didn't invent it. I mean, Goldberg was there before him. There have been other people that have done this style of throwing people around, making it look easy, coming out, being a beast. It's nothing new. He is the best at it, though. Moments, we're going to give him 4. He beat the streak. He took John Cena to Suplex City. He had his match with Goldberg back in the day. He's had his matches with Goldberg recently. Brock Lesnar has had plenty of moments. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, coming back at SummerSlam. Moments on moments on moments. He gets a 4. Finisher. We're going to give him a 4, very similar to the AA. He could pick up some pretty big guys, but all he does is really just throw him back down. It's a good finisher, though. Longevity, we're going to give him a 3.5. He was gone for like 10 years. He's gone for basically like 9 months at a time. We're going to give him 3.5. He has been around for a while. I mean, 2002 till now, but like I said, lots of breaks in between. This leaves Brock Lesnar with a 27.5. We are down to our final 2. We will be looking at Randy Orton now with a 3.5 promo skills. Not the greatest promo of all time, but I've seen him do some pretty good work. In ring, we're going to give him a 4. Reliable as all hell, but not exactly the one that carries matches. It factor, we're going to give him a 4.5. If it wasn't for Cena being there, I'm sure they would have done just fine with Randy in that spot. I don't think Randy would have done as much as Cena, like going to all the events and stuff, but as the face of the company, he would have been a good guy to put on a poster anyways. Game changer, he's going to be a 3. He didn't really revolutionize anything, really. He kind of just is the best of everyone. So he didn't change the game, but he did work off what other people created, and he made something great. Moments, we're going to give him a 3.5. I mean, the RKOs go a long way, his surprise RKOs, but he hasn't really had those big moments in the WWE. Finisher, RKO is one of the greatest of all time. It gets a full 5. Longevity, he's going to get a 4.5 because he's been around for the last 20 years. I'm sure he's going to be around for like 5 or 6 more, and he's been injured a couple of times, but he really doesn't take that long off. He is one of the most reliable guys in the company. He gets a 4.5. That brings Randy's score to a 28. And now, last but certainly not least, we have Roman Reigns. Promo skill, we're going to give him a 4. I mean, in his early career, he wasn't that good at it, but he's gotten really good now. I think it's the character. He wasn't able to pull it off before, but now with this character, with this attitude, he is able to pull off his promos. In ring, he is also going to get a 4. Like I said before about many other on this list, he is a good conduit for better wrestlers. He is not necessarily the one carrying the matches, but he is able to keep up with guys who can carry matches. It factor, we're going to give him a full 5. He is Roman goddamn Reigns. He deserves it. Game changer, we're going to give him a 4. He did kind of change the game during COVID, but I don't know how much that affects now's product. But at the time, he was a game changer. Moments, we're going to give him a 4. He has had his title run. He has had his 1,000 days moment. He's had his losses. I guess those are moments too, I guess. But a lot of his moments are wrapped up in his early years in the WWE, which not a lot of us liked. But you know, he's Roman Reigns, so you got to give him some credit. We're giving him a 4. Finisher, he's getting a 4. The spear, I hear you. The spear is totally overused. A lot of people do it better. There's someone in the WWE, Braun Breaker, who does it better right now. But the spear is still iconic, and Roman still has a really good one, so he's getting a 4. Longevity, we're going to give him a 3.5. Roman Reigns has been very consistent on the WWE up until very recently. So I'm taking away half a point for how inactive he's been lately. But, I mean, I don't see him leaving within the next 5 years. I see him still wrestling down the road, which will make his career a 20-year career. So he's got to get the 3.5 right now. This brings Roman's score to a 28.5. Honorable mention, Dominic Mysterio gets a 5 in promos. Do you hear that noise when he goes out there and he starts talking? The crowd goes nuts every time. In ring, he is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen in that ring. He is a GOAT. The match with AJ was great. He's a GOAT. It factor. Dominic Mysterio is the it factor. He gets all the girls. He gets all the championships. He's the guy. Game changer, 5 out of 5. He's the luchador of all luchadors. He's changed the game for luchadors. He is the greatest of all time. Moments, obviously 5 out of 5. He got, turning on his dad. That was great. Joining Judgment Day, turning on Rhea, getting with Liv, winning the Intercontinental title and the AAA title and the North American title. He's a moment maker. Finisher. He has 2 of the greatest finishers of all time, the 619 and the Frog Splash. And he does them better than his dad. So that gives him a 5 out of 5. And longevity, he's been in the company for 20 years. Think about that. He has been in the company for 20 years, and he's just now hitting his prime. So longevity, he gets a 5 out of 5. Dominic Mysterio gets a 35 out of 35. I don't know what else to say about this guy. He's definitely the GOAT. But we're gonna disqualify him. His career's too early still. I know 20 years in the business, but we're just getting into his prime now. We'll rank him a lot higher. We'll get him on this list in 10 years when his career's wrapped. He'll be number 1, obviously. So just give him a little more time. Him, MJF, they'll be on the list. Don't worry. So, with our final scores in, we have Ric Flair taking the first spot on the Mount Rushmore with a 31.5. Second, with a 31, is Stone Cold Steve Austin taking the second spot on our Mount Rushmore for the day. And tied for the next 2 spots with a 30.5, we have the GOAT, John Cena, and The Undertaker. I think we can all agree this is the most definitive Mount Rushmore that you have ever seen in your life. Obviously, I used a lot of math and science to get to this conclusion. So please, if you guys like this video, leave it in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you disagree on anything that I said in this video, just comment it or make your own video and maybe DM it to me and let me watch it and we'll go back and forth and argue about it. I'm all ears. I'm here for it. I want you guys to tell me what you think. And thank you guys. I have been your host, Justin. This has been my definitive list for Mount Rushmore, and peace out. Whoa. You haven't subscribed to the Hardcore and the Casual's new pro wrestling channel yet? Well, click here, go subscribe, check out some of our playlists. If you want a suggestion, click this video here. And if you want to contact us on social media, that casual PW. Hey, keep it casual.